Alright, I'm trying to do this in one take. I've already tried like 3 times, so if it doesn't work this time, fuck it. But just a quick tutorial on how to hook up hardware synths like the Moog Minitaur, Volca keys, and Behringer Deepmind 12 in my case to an interface. In my case, it's the Studio 1824C. This thing has 8 analog inputs to and then 10 digital inputs, but I only use the analog inputs. I got this over the DigiDesign 03 I was using for a while because this has USB-C, and I got a motherboard with USB-C just for it, and this used FireWire. The FireWire was no good because it was bottlenecking a bunch of stuff, but once you've got your synths hooked up and in place, and by hooked up I mean power cable, MIDI, and audio, I'll explain how I have my MIDI routed, but for audio you would just pair them up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, obviously for stereo or individual. In my case, 1 and 2 are this synth because sometimes I will lower one or cut one like that, because that is technically a mono synth, and I like to be able to do that quickly. 3 is my mic, which runs through this preamp. Don't fucking judge me for that mic right now. And 4 is the Moog Minitaur. 7 and 8 are the Deepmind 12, and 5 and 6 I have nothing right now, but that's for future stuff. This interface has 1 MIDI out. If yours has multiple, then fantastic, but with 1 MIDI out you gotta get creative with routing physical cables, and that's because smaller synths won't have a MIDI out like this one and this one. Only the Deepmind in this case has a MIDI out. Luckily it's got 2 MIDI outs. This red one, the red cable's plugged into a MIDI through, and the orange cable is plugged into a MIDI out, and that MIDI out just needs to be turned into a MIDI through by turning on soft through in the synth, so now you have 2 MIDI throughs, and that's great. But the first actual MIDI through just goes here, and I have this set up as channel 2. Every synth will have its own programming method to choose what channel it is. In this case it has a little screen to help you. Here you have to press down some buttons, and then it'll just listen for the next signal. In this case you choose with some function keys, but have this set to channel 2 because this is channel 1 and that's channel 3. In FL, when you go to the mixer, you just set your inputs. So 1 and 2 will be the Volca keys. 7 and 8 will be the Deepmind 12. And then, since this guy's mono, it just needs a 4. So those are in the first one's coming in hot because I have it really high, and that thing's on and runs on batteries. At least right now it does. In your channel rack, you're gonna open some MIDI outs, 1 MIDI out for each synth, and the way I'm doing it right now, you set them all to the same port because they're all coming out of the same port in the interface. But if you had multiple ports, then you would just route them in that case. But I'm using port 1 because in my MIDI settings I have port 1 selected for Studio 1824C MIDI out. If that was 2, 3, 4, I would just need to match that number with the port number here. Channel 1 would be my Deepmind. Channel 2 is the Minitaur, and channel 3 is the Volca keys. Now, I'm not hearing signal because this is muted. That's the Volca keys. receiving signal. That's the Minitaur, and here's the Behringer. And you can only record, or you can only input MIDI one at a time, whichever one's highlighted at the moment. But I mean, you can just loop the recording and just switch, especially with the Flex. Like, you just you can get a really good workflow going where you're just loop recording live hardware synths, and it's pretty easy. Just make sure the recording tracks are armed just like you would a microphone. Make sure you're recording into the song, unless you're just recording the pattern, which in whatever case, do whatever you want. I don't care. But if you want to see any more videos explaining any more FL stuff, like setting up the Touche or the FL Fire, which is actually like the easiest thing because FL just like works with it. But yeah, this I've programmed in the past, but don't have it programmed right now because I just rebuilt my computer and I clean installed FL. But you can program all these knobs and faders to different mixer faders and knobs, or if you have like a VST loaded like stock one, for example Citrus, you could map all these things, and that's just using this. In the Mix has a really good video on it, so you should check him out. Regardless, that's pretty much it, but I'll make another video making a beat with some live synth in the future. See y'all next time.